Just curious, I know for Wings of Liberty you guys decided to go ahead and release multiplayer as a beta first before doing single player. Is there any particular reason why you decided to just flip it around in this particular case?
We did lead with Wings in many ways with multiplayer every time we talked about it, right? At the same time, we know very clearly from our fans that many of our fans are coming to us primarily for the solo play experience. And we kind of wanted to re-emphasize that with our fans to say, hey, you know what? We know you're out there. We're not trying to not acknowledge you. We know you're out there. We know you're passionate about the solo play experience. We know this is a very important part of the experience. For many of you, it's the most important part of this experience. And so we kind of wanted to lead this one just a little differently.
Can you give us a way how long it will be? How many campaign missions?
Yeah, we're looking at just, around 20, maybe a little bit more, but something like that.
Are there any plans to bring back the Defiler and the Devourer to single player?
The Defiler, I could see. I don't know for sure. We haven't gotten through the whole campaign to know which units are appropriate or not. The Defiler, I could see. I don't know if the Devourer is cool enough. Mostly the air-to-air units don't tend to have that much use in a lot of the campaign missions, but if we can find a spot for them, it would certainly make sense.
Is there going to be any solution for LAN in the future? I know it's a multiplayer question, but is it going to be like a restart in multiplayer? I know that's not single-player related.
We don't have any intentions to do anything like that right now. We are listening to that point, but I wanted to say, we were talking about lessons learned. We learned a lot on all fronts. Online, one of the things I would say is keep it simple. We've behind the scenes, and you guys don't get to see a lot of this, the online maintenance and service that surrounds StarCraft 2 is so much more complex than what we've had in the past, and so it doesn't come out that way necessarily in what the player sees, but it's a lot harder running the service, so we're trying to make sure that we streamline where we can as far as that's concerned.
How does that approach work in terms of adding new units to
it's pretty challenging for us just because we want to make sure that it all still works. It's still a very tight, very clean multiplayer experience. We don't know how much we're going to add, how much we're going to replace, how much we're going to tune up. It could be a different answer per race at the end of the day. Maybe some races have room for 2 more units. Maybe some races have no more room for 2 more units, and all they get is tune-ups and replacements. But we're going to certainly try to hold to our values of making this really tight, really clean, very clear esport with some very crisp choices and not have a bunch of muddy stuff that doesn't make sense or that nobody uses. This product is going to be hugely about the story experience, right? Like, we're going to add, some new units to multiplayer, sure, but it's not a whole new multiplayer game from bottom up. It's going to be some tweaks and tunings and hopefully some new units, and maybe some units come out, we don't know, but we're going to try to tune that up and make it really great. But a ton of effort that goes into this particular game is going to be about the story, about these missions, about these characters.
Is there going to be a beta?
Yes.
Is the beta going to be campaign beta or
No.
just multiplayer?
Just multiplayer.
Have you considered making a cooperative campaign in the future, maybe?
Yes. We're very passionate about it. It's a way a lot of us really love to play. We love playing Diablo, World of Warcraft, Left 4 Dead. All of these are great games to play cooperatively, and we think StarCraft would be really fun to play cooperatively as well. We just haven't found the time to really get that right yet.
Are you going to have the control bonus missions, like with the Seratul prophecies as well? Something similar in Heart of the Swarm?
Don't know yet. We're really working on that. We've definitely heard the urge to have that kind of mix-up, and it was totally fun for us to make those missions. We had a blast making those missions. But Kerrigan, as you can imagine, doesn't have a lot of friends. Right? I don't see Zeratul show up going, check it out. Right? Like, she's not going to do that. So we need to work out the story conceit for that, and then we need to figure out kind of where it goes, but it's something we're definitely looking at.
Are there plans to watch replays with friends? We'd love to.
Yeah, we got that.
Just
one of those backlogs.
It's one of those
it's there.
Yeah, it's definitely there. We definitely want to do it.
Don't know. In the life cycle of StarCraft 2, I see it happening.
Could you guys maybe talk a bit about how you go about creating new units, like brainstorming, maybe with some Zerg units or something?
David's a big part of this, as is Matt Cooper and the level design team. I have guys around the team who are very enthusiastic about multiplayer. Like Ted Park is a artist on our team who's a super enthusiastic multiplayer guy. It's just kind of different people on the team who are super enthusiastic. We come up with ideas, we check with them, we go and talk to them personally or send them emails, and we get ideas. And we really work on the mechanics almost exclusively first. And there are some exceptions to this. Like, we will say, it'd be really cool to have infantry with a jump pack, right? And then we'll try to make that work mechanically, and sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't. It'll be really cool to have, like we knew we wanted to have a Dark Dragoon and a regular Dragoon for a long time, and we tried to make mechanics that would work for those. So sometimes the art leads, and sometimes we'll say, hey, you know what we need? We need like a fast AoE vehicle, right? I don't know, draw some art, right? And then we'll get some art back that hopefully matches that vibe. So it kind of goes different ways for different units.
Does it sound chaotic? It is.
Sounds
Yeah, you don't want to know how the sausage is made. It's horrible. But yeah, we do it in different ways because you want to get. At the end of the day, you want something that is amazing for esports and feels. I mean, Sammy often puts it. You want your cool superhero team. It's a combination of what looks really fun and what plays really well. That hopefully is where the magic comes together.
The Zerg backstory, I said in the past, you really wanted to explore what it means to be Zerg.
Sure.
In Heart of Storm, you guys expand on that more now.
Well, I mean, the whole challenge of it is to make them. I mean, there's sort of two ways we could go, right? And there's the lame way and hopefully the cool way. One way we could go is to make them just sort of monstrous and don't tell you too much, right? Just have them growl at you a lot and make them seem kind of scary and weird. And this is how a lot of science fictions will work with a lot of their monsters. They keep them unknown so that you don't really your imagination is doing most of the work. Our hope is that we can really work out all the details and describe to you, what it's like to be feared, hated, and hunted by every sentient creature in the galaxy. To believe that conquest and survival are one and the same. That if you don't eat, you die. Right? To give you that sense of what these creatures are going through and why they feel like they have to continue to evolve or they're going to be destroyed. And to hopefully, if at least not making you sympathetic with them, at least make you understand them.
Opening up a gigantic can of worms on the multiplayer side. Have you heard the Idra argument? And
What's the Idra?
That Zerg doesn't. Maybe David can speak to it, but that Zerg doesn't have solid enough early game scouting options to specifically
We've
stop
been hearing this a lot lately.
Yeah, to specifically stop Terran.
Speak to it?
Scouting options in general, not just the Zerg, we feel like may be lacking a little bit because like when we look at tournament games, especially GSL, there are a lot of games where the other player just forgot to scout that one option that the other guy can go, and because of that, the game just ends in like 8 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, right? And the number of those games are happening pretty frequently, and those are not just Zerg games. So we definitely talked about increasing the scouting options, early game, tier 1 scouting options for all 3 races. But on the flip side, we do want to see them a certain percentage of the time, right? Like, we don't want to see them, we don't want to see normal games all the time, right? And it's also something that people learn to deal with over time. Like 5 months ago, not everyone could deal with a lot of the stuff that they can deal with right now.
Yeah.
So time is another factor that can solve that. So we're definitely looking into just waiting out and seeing what's going to happen with the metagame. And if it does turn out too much, then in Heart of the Storm, we will address.
Yeah, make some change.
How do you guys feel about people like Day 9 and the likes who just teach StarCraft to people like that?
Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Day 9's amazing. Like, he does really great work. I mean, we're continually blown away by the passion of our community. I mean, it's just sort of, it's so fun to be able to work on this. And I don't know what I'm going to see when I come in. I'm going to get, a link from Alan. Who knows what it is, right? Like, it's just so exciting to see what.
Seriously, I gotta admit that I'm like addicted. We've worked on this game for so long, and you figure after we're done, you'd be tired of it. You wouldn't really want to see it anymore. But I go home and all I do is I start watching streams of players, and I listen to the guys talk about it on the podcast or whatever, and it's amazing the fans, just how into it they are, and how it's like fun to watch. It's not like I'm watching just I gotta keep up to date on what's going on in the StarCraft world. I actually enjoy it. Yeah. I really enjoy watching these streams and watching these guys play.
As long as we're finishing, is Artosis ever going to make Grandmasters?
You guys could help.
You know better than I do.
They just laugh at you. They can't pick it sides.
Yeah.
Do you want us to put in a Grandmaster?
Yeah.
It'd be really funny.
Hey, thanks you guys
for coming so much.
Here.
Thanks for meeting us.